Hi Andy. Why did I buy your books? I knew that it was real. I knew from reading your website that you were telling the truth. I know enough to be able to judge that pretty well, I think. And I knew that they were going to give me the missing link in stuff that I had been learning for a very, very long time. I'm in a slightly bizarre situation. I teach people a lot of health, relationship, and also a lot of business success, really. And my clients get amazing results. But the really tough thing for me over years has been that they were getting much better results than I was. So I was completely the opposite way around from the success teachers who know how to be really successful but don't know how to teach it. I knew how to teach it, but I didn't know how to do it myself. And there's a real limitation because there comes a point if you're not really doing it all yourself where you actually block yourself, and that's what had happened to me pretty big time some time ago. Over the last year and a half, I went through a process of pretty much debugging myself, not that different from what you describe in your first book. But I knew that I hadn't dealt with the goal part. I've known it for a while, and I did all the ego tricks that you describe extremely well and extremely accurately to somehow avoid it and think I could get away with it, or think that there was maybe a spiritual way around it that would mean I just didn't have to think about all of that. But finally I reached the point where I knew that I had no choice but to deal with it and to deal with it head on. And I knew as soon as I read your webpage that I was going to get that from these books. And in a way, what has it done for me so far? I've read the whole of the first book, and I have started doing the desire sheets in the second book. I've only started, so that's where I've got to. The main thing it's done for me, I used the first book more or less to check up on all the stuff that I've done. And I was actually really happy because I think I've done quite a thorough process in terms of debugging. At least I can say that my mind is pretty clear and that I am aware when it becomes unclear, and I can usually get in there before too much damage is done. I can't say that, it takes time, but for the first time ever, I have that much consciousness, which is a great improvement. In terms of the goals, really the things that's happened is that I know this time it's going to work. I have total confidence in that. And I have total confidence that I am going to overcome all the ego kind of objections. However much I might get caught by them from time to time, I've had enough experience now to know that. So to have that process of dealing with goals is absolutely invaluable for me, because it's something that I can do, and I'm just going to take your method and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it and stick with it and not allow myself to get confused by it or to try to escape from it, and it's going to work. So that's what it's done so far. If you'd sent your email in a few months, or probably less than that, I would have more concrete results, I know. But that's where I am right now. Funnily enough, though, after writing a single one-sentence desire a little bit earlier today, on my Facebook page, suddenly somebody started asking me if there was something that I could help with, and it turned into a little kind of global conversation about a massive problem in the world. And I thought, that's funny, that really directly links with the desire that I'd written. So clearly things are beginning to function even after one sentence. No doubt you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. What do I expect it to do for me in the future? My plan is to use the first book as a kind of checklist / Bible, if you like, so that it allows me to make sure that I'm keeping myself quite thoroughly clear, rather than perhaps doing most of it but leaving some bits out. So I will use it as a way to kind of check up on myself on a fairly regular basis. I haven't finished reading the second book yet, so I don't know exactly what it's going to be. But the main way that I plan to use it, in fact, is with clients. A lot of my clients need preparation, honestly, to make the most of your books, because otherwise they could easily be people who duck out rather than going all the way through. And the way that I teach them is a way that's extremely active in terms of keeping them in the process so that they can't duck out very easily. So what I would like to do is prepare a lot of people, and I really mean by using the goal setting process and everything else you've taught, I expect to have a lot of clients. And at a certain point, your book will be like one of my textbooks, effectively, so I will get them all to use it and read it, and I will keep them on track with it as well, because I know the ego voices and I know how to recognize them in clients, and I will do it. So I believe it will be like the key reference book for manifestation in everything that I'm doing. There are a couple of other things that I will use too, and apart from that I will teach. And I'm really grateful to have it all in one place, so simple and so clear and so down to earth, without any fancy, fluffy language, so that absolutely anybody can relate to it. I think that's a fantastic contribution, and it gives me a kind of freedom to get on with what I want to do without having to deal with a whole lot of the stuff that you're doing. That's great. It's given me freedom to take things so much further than I could if that wasn't there. So thank you very much.